Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream, What to Expect Your Freshman Year. My name is Gage Boardman with the Education Quest Foundation. It's been a few years since my freshman year of college, so just to get a fresh perspective, I'm privileged to be joined tonight by our two guests who are still pretty new in their college journey, Paige Fritz and Kylie Syme. So welcome, Paige and Kylie. Thank you both for being here with me tonight. Before we get started, I just want to give a couple reminders to our audience. Be sure to post some questions in the chat as we go. We'll get to them at the end of the presentation. So, just to kick us off here, Kylie, could you please just give us a quick introduction of where you're from, the college you're going to, and what your major is?
Okay, hi guys. I'm Kylie. I'm from Kearney, Nebraska, and I go to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and my major is architecture. So,
Okay, architecture.
yeah.
Yeah. And so just to kind of get us on the topic now of what to expect your freshman year, can you talk a little bit about kind of the transition from high school to college? What things did you do to prepare? And kind of what's your biggest piece of advice for someone coming into college?
Yeah, so I think the hardest part about the transition was just knowing that you're kind of going in, and I didn't have a ton of friends going to Lincoln, and so I was leaving a lot of my friends at home, so it was kind of scary knowing that I didn't have a ton of people who I knew were automatically going to be there for me at college. So definitely my biggest piece of advice is during the first few weeks, go to as many things as possible because they hold a lot of welcome events and ways to meet new people, and all these new people, all the new freshmen are coming in also looking to make new friends. And so just meeting all those people at the beginning, you never know who could be your new best friend and could be your people there on campus for you.
Exactly. I'm in the same boat. Everyone in my school would go to UNL, and when I went to UNL, nobody else did. So I was like, well,
Yeah, exactly.
but definitely like those types of events helped me a lot, just meet people.
Yeah.
Uh, and so just like on like the big picture kind of view, I know obviously every major is different, but what was the workload in college like compared to the workload in high school?
It was definitely very different for me because, again, being architecture, I had a lot of projects and stuff compared to less studying, but it's obviously just a lot more outside of class time and you kind of have to manage it on your own. But for me, I've always been pretty motivated in school, and so I always spent a lot of my days, I would try to still keep it on the 8 to 5 schedule so that I was getting my homework done during the day when I knew I was going to be motivated. And then at night, I could just kind of have time to myself to hang out with my friends or work out or stuff. So that definitely helped me a lot just because it kept me on a schedule that I knew I could stay motivated without being burnt out. And I think that's probably the best for me because I'd try and get it all done before the weekend, before the night comes. So,
Yeah, that's a great. I wish I would have done that actually. I'm graduating now, so it's a little late for that, but
yeah.
that's great. Yeah. Paige, we're gonna turn to you now quick. Same here. Can you also just tell our audience where you're from, the college you're going to, and your major?
My name is Paige Fritz. I'm from Papillion, Nebraska, and I go to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I'm an acting major.
Period acting. Our audience may or may not know this, I don't know. But I went to school with Paige actually as another theater major. That's my roots. And so, Paige, just talking to you really quick, because I knew you as a freshman. Um, a big part of that experience is living in the dorms, obviously having a roommate. So, can you kind of share your experience in finding a roommate, moving in, getting along with your roommate, solving conflicts if there were any, that sort of thing?
Well, I feel like, well, I don't know how unique of a position this is, but my roommate was my best friend since preschool. So I had known her through every way of life. And then my suite mates, because I lived in Knoll, which is like a suite style dorm. And my suite mates were also two of my best friends. And so that made it easier and also harder because I know going into college, a lot of people were like, don't room with your best friend, like stuff like that. But I was like, "Meh." And that ended up proving to be a good decision because if there were any conflicts, I would be very comfortable just talking to them about it.
Yeah. That's interesting, actually. That's lucky. You're lucky. Kylie, how was your experience with the same thing?
I actually met my roommate online just over Instagram, and she's from Texas. So we did not know each other, but we were in the same major, so we were like, okay, we should get along. And we did get along really well. Most of our conflicts, like we would just talk it through, and we didn't really have a ton because we just spent a lot of time like we would communicate with each other when we were gonna be home, if we were inviting people over, ask if we could use each other's stuff, that kind of thing. But I did live in the communal dorms, and that was probably the biggest conflict we have is because we were deciding between the two because I wanted to live in the suites. But I'm so happy I lived in the communal dorms. I had to throw that in there because I lived Able Hall, if anybody is living there, and I loved it. All of my best friends lived on my floor. I was really close with the girls and the guys on my floor. I loved it.
That's great. Paige, just to go back to you real quick, still on the topic of living in the dorms. Um, it's obviously like a fun experience and everything, but did you ever feel lonely or homesick while you've been away? And how have you kind of coped with those emotions if you had them?
Sure. At the beginning of the year, I was definitely really, really homesick, especially I'm an only child, so like it's always been me and my parents. So, it was really hard for me going to school, but the biggest thing that helped me was just to stick it out. The fact that time heals everything is very true. And the longer I stayed at school and built a routine and kind of didn't go home on the weekends and tried to push through it, the more I was really happy with school and happy with the whole environment and stuff.
Only child gang. I definitely feel that. I do remember that. And like you mentioned, routine was actually the thing that helped me a lot too. Um, Especially, once we get into rehearsals as a theater major, that sort of thing. It was great to find like connection there and routine there. Um, and so Kylie, I kind of want to go back to you because college isn't all, just the dorms and academics. So did you find it important to get involved in extracurriculars, activities, clubs? And if you did, how do these activities impact your freshman year?
Yes, I was involved in a lot. I did Greek life, which I'm no longer in a sorority now, but I'm really glad I did it. I met a ton of my friends through that, just through recruitment and stuff. But I'm also part of the club tennis team. I do a lot of stuff through architecture, and I just think it's really important to get involved on campus because, especially if you're going somewhere bigger, it just makes a big campus feel so much smaller. I just felt like I had so many different communities through like on campus that I knew so many people that I always felt like I had somewhere to turn if I was ever feeling lonely or stressed or just worried about anything that you could experience freshman year because there's a lot. So I really enjoyed being involved in a lot of things.
Yeah, I came from a small school too, so going to campus the size of UNL was definitely a bit jarring. But just finding like your niche little communities is what really helped me.
I
Um,
agree.
and so kind of going on here a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about the freshman 15, which is like kind of this dreaded trope you hear about in TV and movies. I know I definitely struggled with eating like nutritious, energizing breakfasts or just skipping breakfast in general. So do you have any tips or any advice on staying healthy, staying fueled for classes and your activities?
I was a part of an intramural basketball team, which I really enjoyed. Definitely a workout, but it was a lot of fun with my friends. So just finding enjoyable ways to work out, I think was really good for me. I would go to the gym with my friends too, and they would hold me accountable. Like we'd always go together, and it's a lot more fun. And then also, I have to say, you do a ton of walking. So that's definitely a built-in workout as well. And I feel like that's not really talked about going into your freshman year. Like I had to go buy a new pair of tennis shoes because I didn't have any good ones.
Paige, did you have that sort of same experience, the walking and everything? How was your campus distance?
For sure. I definitely didn't have to walk as far as a lot of people did. I think 7 minutes was the walk from Knoll to where the theater building is, so I was pretty lucky there. And as far as freshman 15 goes, I didn't really like pay attention to all that because that's like a really big like thing that people talk about when going into college. So I was just like, I'm gonna forget about that because it's not a big deal, I don't think. It's not something that people should put as much effort and thought into as other
Yeah,
people would think. I don't think it matters that much.
yeah, exactly. And so Paige, I'm gonna turn towards you here for a second. Because we come, from a tight-knit kind of theater program. And so when you were new to campus, how did you find and start building your support network?
Um, First, my first support network was kind of pre-built for me because I roomed with my closest friends, and then my other closest friends were like two rooms down from me. But as the school year kind of went out, and well, I was blessed with because in the theater program in the acting major, you are given an ensemble because you have to audition into the program, which Gage knows. And there's nine others that you're with usually. And so I was kind of given a community. And I was just lucky enough to have those nine other people be nine of the best people I've ever met in my life. So I was really lucky with that.
Yeah. And Kylie, I don't know much about the architecture school, so I don't know if it's somewhat similar, but same question to you. How was building your support network in college?
Yeah, so architecture is pretty small as well. So that was really nice. And you really get to know, like, even I was really close with the other people in the program, but even the teachers and stuff who are all pushing you to do your best because you have to apply to get into the second year. And so they're all kind of like, and the upperclassmen are supporting you. They help you through the freshman year. And I think that's how it is for a lot of programs. Like the resources are there to help you if you find them. And like a lot of places do that. So if you're worried about anything within your major, I'd say that. But the other thing, I had a really good support system with the people on my floor. Again, I was super close with them and I just got lucky. I didn't know any of them when I moved in. But I think just finding people who have the same interests as you and are also motivated to do like good in school is really helpful because getting that community can help you push yourself farther too, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that was one of the most powerful things I think I learned in college was being there with the other people who are doing the same thing you want to do for the same reasons. It was very
Yes.
motivating. Um, and so kind of on that topic of like motivation and stuff, because obviously semesters can get busy. Can you describe a time during your freshman year where you felt overwhelmed, maybe lacking some motivation, and what steps did you take to manage stress and stay focused?
Yeah, I definitely think like the entire first semester of your freshman year is kind of overwhelming and stressful, but like dead week, finals week, the first semester is just something you've never experienced before. And so that was a really stressful time for me. But again, I like just had that support system of people around me who are also really invested in doing well in school and doing well mentally. And so we would just like find a lot of time. We'd study together on our floor late at night during dead week. And we'd also find time to just help each other relax. We made sure we'd eat, go to the gym, like still have all the same routines because otherwise it makes it really easy to get burnout, especially that late in the semester after your first year of college. It's crazy.
Yeah. Paige, did you find that something kind of similar also? You know, your group of ensemble members, it gets crazy as an acting major sometimes. And so did you kind of find that you were able to lean on each other?
Oh, for sure. If we do anything, we lean on each other a little too hard because we'll always be up late at night. Whenever there's a big project, we're all around each other, either in a rehearsal space or like if there's something that we need to edit together, we'll all have our little treats and we'll have our little circle with our computers and we'll be editing all together. We never do anything alone, it seems like, which is fun. I like it.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling y'all, connection. It's so important. Um, and so kind of continuing on that topic with you, Paige, because theater majors have a lot of commitments outside of class, as you know, some other majors do also. Um, and so what challenges did you face kind of managing like your free time and what were your strategies for balancing school, but also still having fun?
Sure. Well, I feel like the biggest kind of block that people will find in their freshman year and throughout college is people will be like, oh, let's go do this, let's go do that, while you have a bunch of like things piling up. And so the big thing that helped me was being like, okay, someone has invited me somewhere, but I also have these assignments to do. What would be the consequence of me not doing these assignments now? Do I have time to do it later and see my friends now? Or would it be smarter of me to get it done now? And just kind of weighing out the consequences and really taking time to, what would be best right now and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, great advice. And so before we get to some audience questions, there's one final pretty important question that I actually want to ask to both of you. Um, so what were some unexpected aspects of college life you wish that you had known before your freshman year? Kylie, we can go ahead and start with you first.
Okay, I definitely think like in high school I was really involved. I student council, three sport athlete, like almost every minute of my day was accounted for. So coming into college and having so much free time was just something I was not expecting. And just my schedule wasn't laid out for me like it was in high school. I just had a lot more open time during the day. And so for me, I think the first few weeks it was really hard trying to like put myself on a schedule because I knew I wouldn't stay motivated or stay like consistent in my goals for my freshman year if I wasn't on as much of a schedule. So I would kind of like plan out my day every day, like every morning when I woke up, and I would find time to go to class, go to work, eat, work out, and that kind of stuff. And just like finally figuring out how to put myself on that schedule for once when it wasn't planned out for me was definitely something I had not expected.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the same way in high school. It was cheer practice, school, track, one act, and then you get to college and it's you have your classes and your
Yeah.
activities, but still you have to really look out for yourself, I
hmm
think, is an important thing. And so, Paige, I want to ask you the same question. What's something you wish you had known before your freshman year of college?
I feel like in high school, all of your high school teachers are like, the college professors will never let you do this. And I was like, oh no, they're going to be so scary. And then when I auditioned for the program, I was really terrified of all of our professors. And they're like so like intimidating and scary, and they're going to be so like harsh and stuff. And then I get there and they're all cracking jokes with us. And they send me emails asking if I'm okay. And they're like, hey, come chat for fun whenever you want. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like they're so sweet, they're so kind. They're so much like less strict and stress inducing than high school teachers, which I did not expect at all.
Yeah. Kylie, did you find the same experience?
Yeah, I think definitely a lot of that has to do with being in smaller majors like we are on here, but I felt the exact same way. I had multiple teachers where I just like knew I could go to them with any questions I had for the most part whenever I wanted. And again, just having to apply for the second year and to like basically get into the architecture program, it just felt really good to me because all of the teachers I felt like had my back and they were all pushing me. They wanted me to get into the program. And so I definitely think as long as you make an effort to make yourself known to your professors, like they're going to be there for you.
Yeah. I think I would say the same exact thing. Do not like be afraid to ask questions. I know
Yeah.
even if you have some like harder professors that are actually maybe a little intimidating, like they still want you to come ask them questions because that lets them know you're engaged and you want to keep learning as well. So thank you guys both so much for sharing your great experiences so far. We are going to take some quick audience questions before we wrap up. What have you learned in college that has nothing to do with the classroom? Paige, maybe I think I'll have you answer this one. You can take
Hmm.
some time.
What have I learned that has nothing to do with the classroom? And that is that I don't have to worry as much when I'm like the one thing that this also kind of ties into the last question you asked. I went into college thinking that um my mental health would get worse. uh it got a lot better actually. Like my mind, I guess maybe it's because I have so much room to do whatever, and that also it's mainly a lot outside of the classroom, so it does apply to this question. But I just don't have to worry as much. I learned that I do not have to worry, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I put a lot of pressure on myself before I got into college for no reason. There was no reason to be that stressed. And once I got there, it is a little overwhelming at first, but once you really get into the rhythm and the groove, literally by week 3, you're having the time of your life. It's
Mm-hmm.
great.
For sure.
Um, and then we have one more here. Kylie, I'll have you answer this one.
Okay.
Uh, do you think you've changed over the past year of college? If so, how?
I definitely think I have. I would say for the better. Um, it's definitely just again kind of the same thing. You're meeting so many new people and like almost all of my friends I didn't know going in, and they're from different states. I mean, Texas, like it's pretty crazy. So you're definitely bound to change just by the people you're hanging around. But I would just say like I got a lot more confident just being on my own. I feel like in high school, I wouldn't say I was like crazy dependent, but just being around, I always had a team, and going to college, having to put yourself out there, put yourself on a schedule, it just made me feel so much more confident in myself. And I was like, oh, wait, like I can do this. Like I'm by myself now and I'm doing great. So I think that'd be what I'd say.
Well, thank you guys both so much for all of your great answers tonight. Um, I think we're gonna wrap up here, but if we didn't get to your question, please reach out to any of our offices for free help. You can find all of our contact information at educationquest.org. And as always, please follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube to stay up to date on all the latest developments with the FAFSA and college planning, as well as some additional fun content here and there. I've been doing some dorm room recipes, so if you're going to be in the dorms, you need something to cook in a microwave, follow us on YouTube because I'm posting some of those. And finally, don't forget to sign up for the Countdown to College email to get a short weekly email to keep you in the loop. It's at the bottom of our homepage, which is again educationquest.org. And we're going to go ahead and share that link in the chat now so you guys can sign up for that. And we will be seeing you here not next Wednesday, next month, September, for our next live stream. Please make sure that you just follow us on, again, Instagram, Twitter, X, Facebook, to get updates for that. Okay. Thanks, everyone, and have a great evening.